I don't have time right now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call this council meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Thank everybody for coming. We're going to start a couple minutes early. Hopefully that doesn't offend anybody. I'd like to ask if there's anybody that has a disclosure of pecuniary interest. If so, disclose it right now. Okay, seeing none.
Relatively soon.
So the minutes of the previous meeting. We have a resolution moved by Councillor McKenzie, Councillor Elliott, that the previous minutes of April 2nd, 2019 council meeting approved. All in favor? Against? That's carried. Sorry if I'm a little slow. I have to apologize. Our mayor is on well-deserved vacation this week, and I know that he's eating his heart out because I think his grandson's on one of these teams. So is there any additional items that anybody wants to talk about this evening? Councillor Dirksen? Perfect. Okay. If there's any time during the meeting you want to say something when the time comes, why speak up. So we have a resolution moving council into committee of the whole, moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Gunson, that the town of Minto council convenes into the committee of the whole. All in favor? Against? That's carried. Thank you. So I'd like a motion to have two delegations moved up. So thank you, Councillor Elliott, Councillor Dirksen. All in favor of that? We'd like to move the two delegations up so we can then move on to the next, the second most important business. Sorry, Ben. All in favor of that? That's carried. So this evening we have two sports teams to recognize, and one hockey, one broomball. So both of these teams have won their major competition this season. They've won championships. First, we have the Minto Mad Dogs Pee Wee Rep team. So why don't we go out there? Sure. Councillor Elliott. So this group of young men won the International Silver Stick Tournament earlier this season and capped off a great year by winning the OMHA Championship by sweeping the Lucan Irish in March. So Ian, would you introduce the legends and your coaches? Introduce yourself first.
So myself is Ian McCary, Jason Schneider, Grant Habermill, Mike McDougall, and then the players, first up, Evan DeGroot, Owen Schneider, Brody Kleist is with Evan DeGroot, Etienne Glade, Clayton Moore, Nate Binkley, Cole Kuipers, Adam McRobbie, Logan Rogers, Brody Macbeth, Ethan McCary, Terrence Sinclair, Quinn Habermill, and we're missing one other goalie that's not here, Taryn Langella, and Kyle Ellis and Denver Hill are not here either, but two other folks.
So Ian, if you don't mind just taking us through your year.
It was a tough start. We asked to play the bigger centers, the B centers, Mitchells, Kincardines, those kind of teams, just to prepare ourselves for the playoffs, and it kind of seemed to work out. We got on a roll at our own regional Silver Stick. We went 4-1 there. No, 5-0. We never lost. 5-0 with that one. So then that got us on to the internationals, where we went 4-1, and then to the playoffs, where we only lost twice. And the boys came around and played great all year round, so they listened well.
Well, congratulations, you guys. I was lucky enough. I got to a few of your games this year, and it's just amazing the talent and how well you fellas played. Coaching, you could see it was well done too. As it was just like a machine with you guys. Just you made your changes in a hurry. You did everything right when you had to, and especially the last game, you just kicked the clock. It was really, really good. What was it? 6-0? Yeah, I felt a lot better in the third period. I felt like I was on the ice with you guys sometimes because it was must have been nerve wracking for you because it sure was nerve wracking for the fans there. And a phenomenal year. Heard a lot about your team all year, and it's great to see. Congratulations.
We got a small token here on behalf of the town of Minto. I'm pleased to extend my warm congratulations to Minto Mad Dogs Pee Wee Rep Team on your OMHA Provincial and International Silver Stick Championships. Talent wins games, but teamwork wins championships. And our mayor. So on behalf of our mayor, council, staff, and citizens of the town, I'd like to congratulate you guys. It takes more than a team. It takes parents. It takes fans. But most important, it takes you guys, and I understand you played extremely well, so congratulations. So, Annalene, you'd like a picture?
Get your hands off.
I think you should be well hid this time.
Maybe you. Is he tall? Is he short? All we have.
No, that's right, great. Everybody should bring a banner.
Guys aren't in the way, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like out of the closet.
Second longer, please.
That's the rec guy in
Ian.
what's his name? Greg. No,
Where's that Ian?
Greg.
Boy.
Hey, thank you.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
It's another rec guy who's helping with the dinner.
Nobody would know the difference for their blue suits.
That's right. Different colored hair.
I better not name names. I'll get in trouble. Yeah, sales. Yeah, because there was a lot of staff.
Told the next kid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they didn't do it. Yeah. I knew. So yeah, Annalene and Quinn did a lot of the organizing, but like Chris was there. Washington, they were there for the day.
Send it, Pee Wee.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure it used to be Adam and down now. Oh, at the range. Were they? No, no, they're not.
And then I couldn't.
That's okay.
But I did enjoy it. Yes.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Annalene, Char, if you don't mind coming up. So our second congratulations tonight goes to the Terminators, Palmerston, broomball team after winning the provincial tournament in February in Barrie. From there, they went on to capture their first ever national championship earlier this month in Quebec. So, Charlotte Reek.
Hello. Head coach, yeah.
If you don't mind bringing the girls in.
Bringing the girls in. First, we have Brooklyn Butchert, Natalie Stephen, Alexis McGill, Maddie Valad, Maddie Hickling, Sarah Wapke, Cassidy Burnett, and Deanna Vaughn. We also had, at Nationals, we also had 4 Windsor girls with us. 2 played with us all year, and then they couldn't make it, and then we had some that are working and away at school, so.
Yeah, I just on behalf of our council and I was lucky enough to get to see a lot of the games for some reason. But more than that, a few years ago when Brooklyn started playing, I started watching the games and to see you girls develop over the years and from just bang the ball around to be able to make plays and the things that you could do out there was just amazing. It was fun to watch. I didn't think I'd ever be able to say that, but it was great. When you guys were playing in the Nationals, we had the computer up and we were watching it and we were screaming into the computer. And just it was a pretty exciting time for you guys, and you came a long way back to win it. All year's been a good year for you, and it was just phenomenal to have a group like you and you play so well. Thank you very much.
So, Shar, if you don't mind taking us through your year.
Sure. This year, the girls, we got a couple extra players from Windsor Way, and Natalie came over and played with us. And Maddie's first year, and she gets a national gold, so I don't know where she goes from here. But anyways, yeah, no, the girls, we have a qualifier tournament that qualifies us for nationals then that you do early because the girls age out. So we went to it the end of November, beginning of December, and the girls won it 3 games straight, I believe, was it not? And then we went in other tournaments around here where they didn't seem to win anything. And then we went to provincials and they won that as well. And then we headed off to nationals. It was just 2 weeks ago. And the girls played hard there. We had a few hiccups at the start and we didn't know if we were even getting to the A side. And then it ended up a 3-way tie in our pool and we had to play mini games, which was only the second time they've ever had to do that at nationals. So the girls had to fight through the mini games with 2 teams that they were tied with, and then we went on to play. And there was actually a guy that was videoing for YouTube that the girls were on, and he said that the broomball games, he did a bunch of hockey games. He said the broomball was more exciting than the hockey games that he did with all the overtime and everything. Yeah, that it was exciting for them to watch. So yeah, no, the girls fought hard, and I'm very proud of all they accomplished this year. And I said it worked out good. I said we had 3 graduating players this year. And the one got the tournament winning goal at qualifier, one got the tournament winning goal at provincials, and the other got the tournament winning goal at nationals. So they ended on a good note anyways.
Wonderful. So a small token here on behalf of the town of Minto, I'm pleased to extend my congratulations to the Palmerston Terminators on your Ontario and Canadian Juvenile Broomball gold medals. Talent wins games, but teamwork wins championship. So congratulations. Thank your parents and your fans because they're very important. So
Thank you very much.
we'd like a picture.
Perfect. Come on in, girls.
That's one on the far side there. Yeah.
Look at his haircut.
Thank you very much, you guys.
Fishing 2 weeks from Saturday. Getting close. Weather's hot. Of course it is.
Yeah, she did that.
Have to go to the ham with
That's a deal.
that? Does it? Okay. Microphones are here. Okay, now we're back to, what are we back to now? Oh, going to public meeting or the other delegation? They have to wait.
They're out there yet too.
We do that. Doesn't that? You're not asking for something. Okay. Okay, so nobody, yeah, you're right. Just
Let's try it.
Yeah. No.
Tyler, can you ask your friends to come in and sit down, please? We're going to do a public meeting. and then we'll get to you guys.
I'll go, Jim.
So our next order of business is our public meeting. It's ZBA 2019-03, Benjamin and Debbie Snyder, 5637 7th Line, Hairston. And it's to consider an amendment to the Town of Minto zoning bylaw number 0186 for property located on part lot 32, concession 6, with the municipal address of 5637 7th Line, Town of Minto. I will chair this public meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and request anybody that hasn't signed in to please sign in at the register. I would like to say that if a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Town of Minto before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Town of Minto to the local planning appeal tribunal, and that the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal before the tribunal unless, in the opinion of the board, there are reasonable grounds to do so. And I'll ask Acting Clerk Duff to introduce this.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Turton. The property subject to the proposed amendment is located on Part Lot 32, Concession 6, with the municipal address of 5637 7th Line, Town of Minto. The purpose and effect of the proposed amendment is to rezone the severed agricultural portion of the property to prohibit any future residential development. This rezoning is a condition of severance application B11118, which has been granted provisional consent by the Wellington County Land Division Committee. The consent will sever a 39.8 hectare or 98.3 acre vacant agricultural parcel from the retained 1.2 hectare or 2.8 acre rural residential parcel, which contains an existing single attached dwelling and an accessory building. Notices were mailed to property owners within 400 feet or 120 meters of the subject property, as well as the applicable agencies on March 28, 2019, and posted on the subject property. Following comments were received from the Town of Minto staff, the building assistant, and her reports attached. Jessica Rahim, Junior Planner, County of Wellington, and that report is attached. And the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority, Brandy Walder, Environmental Planner, Regulations Officer, and those comments are also attached.
Thank you. We'll ask Michelle Brown, Town of Minto staff, to provide comments.
To restrict future residential development on the property. Council may recall that the May 7th was discussed, which was passed in favor of the application, provided that our County of Wellington that we have no objection to the zoning amendment, the local provincial policy statement, and the county official plan provides the surplus fund provided the agricultural zoning bylaw amendment created site specific exemption. Maitland Valley has also provided comment that the land appear to be located outside of the flood hazard area and whether it requires that the housing policies of the They've also requested to be notified of the active development. Staff of the building department and the works department that again review the application and no additional. So therefore we respectfully submit that council considers passing this.
Thank you very much. We'll have questions at the end. So the applicant, you guys want to say anything tonight regarding the proposed amendment? Okay. Anybody else want to talk in favor of the proposed amendment? Anybody want to comment in opposition of the amendment? So we won't need a rebuttal. So, council, questions? Councillor Dirksen.
I just had a question on the rezoning to it says to an A5 zone, which my understanding of the housekeeping zoning bylaw, excuse me, that we did, I think last meeting, that all of these are now becoming A5s rather than different numbered exemptions. But in the bylaw at the end of the meeting, it has in there that it would be rezoned to A36.5. Is that an error? Like, should they all be A5s?
So the section 36 is the rural exception zones. So 36.5 actually refers to the A-5. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll know that for next time. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. Any other questions? Okay, so I'd like to state that if you would like to be notified of the decision of the Council of the Town of Minto in respect to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application, you must make a written request to the Deputy Clerk of the Town, Town of Minto, 5941 Highway 89, Hairston, Ontario. And if there's no further comments, I'd like to close this public meeting. Thank you. So going forward, where do we go now, Terry? No, so we're voting at the end of the meeting. So if you guys want to hang around, or if you want us to let you know, or how do you normally?
You must have some place to go because this is fun.
You don't want to stay?
Right.
Okay, so next on the agenda we have the Minto Youth Action Council, and we're going to have a summary. Taylor, do you want to introduce or they can introduce themselves, okay?
And I'm Caitlin Asman, and we are all members of the Minto Youth Action Council.
Well, welcome and thank you for coming.
Thank you. I was waiting for it to take a while. So our mission statement is that the Minto Youth Action Council works towards creating a positive environment for youth in our community to be empowered, use their voices, and create meaningful change. So we work to make sure that youth feel that they have meaning in our communities, and we're really just trying to enforce that.
So some of the things we'll be going over today include our introductions, because we do have a few members. Our 2018 recap, some things that we accomplished included projects and events, advising and celebrating youth, and also going over our 2019 action plan.
So within MIAC, we have Caitlin Asman, Parker Cummings, Eden Ferris, Kathleen Ferris, Charlotte Hale, myself, Krista Kepke, DJ Campbell, Samantha Wilson, and our adult allies are Taylor Coonan and Megan Raftis.
So our 2018 recap projects and events. So Minto became a gold status youth-friendly community. So that is fantastic, and that was throughout all of Ontario. We did a prom and a grad pop-up shop, which was very successful. MIAC held its second annual Amazing Race, which was also very successful. We sponsored a bursary at Norwell, and we helped with Northern Wellington Youth Connections events. We donated to Norwell Zenden for student wellness and Big Brother Big Sisters Wellington, and we brought in Jason Craney to talk to us at our youth meeting.
In terms of advising, we met with Town of Minto Council as well as the Minto Trails Committee and created a scavenger hunt, which was last year. We also met with the Perth East and Central Wellington representatives who are also interested in starting in youth action councils based upon our own youth action council because they liked what we were doing. We also met with Mayor George Bridge to talk about issues that youth face in Minto, as well as advise and plan the Northern Wellington Youth Connections event.
So as continuing the 2018 recap and celebrating youth, MIAC had a bursary at Norwell for $250, and we had Outstanding Young Citizens Youth Award through the Minto Community Achievement Awards. Both Charlotte Hale and Caitlin Asman received it, and this year both DJ and I were nominated.
So for upcoming events for 2019, we will have outdoor movies again because those went very successfully. So that'll be in all 3 communities of Harrison, Palmerston, and Clifford, and that's through donation. And the proceeds will go to Minto Mental Health. We're also planning to host a road hockey tournament with Norwell in the fall, have our 3rd annual Amazing Race, a Halloween event, and a resume and bath bomb workshops, as well as a board game night or youth space event in spring.
Some more community projects included we sponsored and are painting one of the trendy trains that'll be in Palmerston. We're continuing to create youth space at Launch at Minto, as well as our youth representatives now sit on the Art Council, which is Charlotte, and I'm on the Minto Chamber of Commerce and on Cultural Roundtable. We also help sponsor Minto Mental Health, the Beautiful Boy showing at the Norgan for grade 9 students.
And recommendations towards to Town of Minto. As stated last year, the basketball court in Harrison, we know has been working on, and to be involved in strategic planning when the time comes to help highlight the youth voices and for both the present and future.
Questions for these young ladies? Sorry about that. Yeah, well, congratulations, you guys. That's really exciting.
Thank you.
To have that gold status and all the things that you've done. We're very proud of you, and we're glad that you're part of Minto. So, the recommendations to the Town of Minto Council. Do we want a motion on that, Chris, or are we already in progress?
No, I don't think we need a recommendation. We will definitely include them in the strategic planning that's coming up in the future. Yeah, they're definitely on the radar, and we will need a motion.
Okay, thank you. Well, again, thank you guys for coming. Keep up the good work, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so correspondence received for information and requiring direction of council. We have 5 or 6 here, and we do have the final one there, the municipality of Grey Highlands, Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund resolution. We have a resolution on behalf of this council. Do you want to do it first?
Yeah,
Gord, do you want to talk about
I
it?
could introduce it.
Yes, thank you.
Read it. So, as you know, when correspondence comes in, the staff has a look at it, and the one from Grey Highlands, while we support, they're concerned about their financial position if there's further cuts in the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. And as you know, we just had a $26,000 cut, which wasn't too bad, but for Grey Highlands, it represents about 10% of their tax levy, and for Minto, it's about 34%. So we kind of got to thinking, and we chatted with Mayor Bridge before we went, that maybe instead of just supporting this one, we should put forward our own resolution. And Deputy Mayor Bridge can call that out.
Okay, so thank you, Gord. So we have 2 or 3 other ones here. Anybody want to speak on any of them? Councillor Dirksen?
I just wanted to congratulate you on becoming the chair of Maitland Valley Conservation Authority. Good job. Way to go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anything else? Any other ones that want to be? We want to pull them out. I read that D, and I understand that. I think I understood that correctly. That the French immersion possibly could be leaving Erin and going to Orangeville. There's quite a few letters in reference to that, so not sure if that's a good thing. The other thing, the Harrison Historical Society has some upcoming events, and I think we should take them into consideration. There's 2 excellent ones there. So, okay, so the resolution that on 9F, I'll read it out as it's presented. I'll read it out and then we'll get a mover and a seconder. So, whereas the provincial government announced it was conducting a review of the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, which is the OMPF, which provides annual funding allotment to municipal governments to help offset operating and capital costs. And whereas the municipalities were further advised that the overall spending envelope for the program would decrease, having a significant impact on future budgets and how funds are raised by municipalities as funding will be reduced by an unspecified amount. And whereas if allocations to municipalities are reduced, councils will need to compensate with property tax increases or local services reductions. Whereas the 2018 Town of Minto allocation was $1,630,700, which is equivalent to 33.96% of the town's municipal property tax revenue. And whereas the Town of Minto prides itself on efficient and value for money practices every day. And whereas a 33.96% increase in the municipal property tax rate would increase the municipal component of property taxes paid for an average household by $403 per year. Now therefore be it resolved that although an interim payment has been received, Council of the Town of Minto expresses grave concern with the potential reduction and or loss of the OMPF allotment in future years. And further, Council petitions the provincial government to complete the OMPF review in an expeditious manner as future financial consideration ensures municipal sustainability. And furthermore, that this resolution be circulated to Premier, Minister of Finance, Municipal Affairs and Housing, our local MPP, and all Ontario municipalities for their endorsement and support. Can I have a motion that the council receive? Can I have a motion for this? Gordon, we need a motion for this. Thank you, Councillor Elliott. Councillor Anderson. Everybody understand what we're trying to do here? All in favor of this motion? Against? That's carried. Can I also have a mover and a seconder that we receive the council as information, or the council receives the correspondence for information? Councillor Gunson, Councillor McKenzie, all in favor of that? Against? That's carried. Thank you very much. So we're going to go into the reports of committees, and we'll ask our Economic Development Officer, Linda Wick-Graham, come up and talk to us on the Economic Development and Planning Committee minutes of March 14th.
And I will keep this brief. My Guelph Storm is in Game 7 against the London Knights right now, so again, I can watch that. It's been a busy month of March for our Economic Development Department and the committee. The key highlights out of this were, a big part of it was our Move to Minto campaign that we launched, and we did attend the Home and Garden Show in Kitchener at the end of March. It was extremely successful. We had a lot of positive feedback from the people attending the show. Surprised that we were there. We were the only community there promoting our community, and we gave out all of the Quality Homes packages, all of the Right Haven packages, and specifically to people who are very serious looking at those. So it was really exciting to see the interest in our community and educating people on where we were and what we have to offer. Another hot topic for the economic development meeting has been attainable housing. So we talked a lot about that, and then we followed that up this month with some more conversations with the planning department, the county, as well as CBO Kuipers. So you'll read more about that in the next minute, so I won't dwell on that. Want to just make note of the chamber update that the awards are coming up next Thursday. So if you haven't got your tickets, you may want to do so quickly. It's at the Legion, and we are a sponsor of one of the awards, and there's some great candidates up for awards this year. We've kicked off the Mayor's Breakfast Series this past Friday in Clifford, with 2 more to come next Friday in Palmerston, then the first Friday in May at Harry Stone's. And yeah, there's just a lot of events going on at Launch It. Yeah, and those were kind of like the highlights I wanted to go over in this those set of minutes. unless there's any questions.
Questions? So the first mayor breakfast is over. Clifford, how did it go? Pretty good?
Yes, yeah, it was good. Yeah, lots of good updates, and yeah, hoping more businesses will come out for the Hairston and Palmerston sessions though, so we'll see.
Okay, so do you want to do the cultural roundtable, and we'll pass them both at the same time, Belinda? Thank you.
Yeah, this cultural roundtable meeting specifically was all about action planning, and as you can see there, the committee we have a lot of new members, which is really exciting, and lots of new ideas coming forward. So basically just wanted to jump to the end of those set of minutes and highlight some of the projects that they're interested in doing this year. So the pop-up local history displays, partnering with our heritage groups and churches and different businesses in the downtown to showcase some of that. A lot of interest around storytelling events, updating a database of our artists in the community and working with the Minto Arts Council, adding Savor the Arts to Savor in the Street, and updating the Treasures of Minto website. That's quite a website to update, and it's very difficult to get to that. So we're looking at next year hiring a summer student, and a big role of that person would be to get that website back up to date. They are also interested in doing public art along the community trails or different events on the trail, so working with the Trails Committee on that. We have developed a public art policy a couple of years ago, but we've never brought it to council, so they're interested in revisiting that and potentially bringing that forward. We were at the volunteer dinner. We have grants that this committee gives out to community groups, hosting events and stuff, so just making sure we promote that better so people are aware. Board game cafe seems to be something they're really interested in. To continue on with our Culture Days activities, which is always the last weekend in September. This year's theme is Creativity, the Arts, and Wellbeing. Looking at doing a cultural diversity event, so immigration is really key for Minto's growth, and highlighting the new immigrants that we have here and the different cultural elements, especially food and their stories, is an event we're really excited about. And Caitlin, Rosie, and Raisa have already set a date for the Pride event, and looking at July 13th, I believe. And that's going to be like a picnic in the Palmerston Park. So lots of exciting things happening with the Cultural Roundtable this year.
Questions for Belinda? There is certainly a lot of exciting things. Those are two great reports. So we've got a motion, and we don't have a motion, but we're going to get one, that the council accepts the Economic Development and Planning Committee and the Cultural Roundtable minutes as of March 14th. And what was the date of the Cultural Roundtable? March 25th.
Yes, that's right.
And approve any recommendations contained within. Can I have a motioner and a seconder, please? Councillor Anderson. Councillor Gunson. All in favor of those two sets of minutes? Against? That's carried. Thank you, Belinda. We'll move into staff reports. Business and Economic Development Manager with the CIP.
Yes, so this one might slow us down a little bit. It is a 41-page report that I'm sure Councillor Gunson would like to walk through. It's new for him, so hopefully taking the time to read the new CIP document. Not a lot has changed. Just wanted to kind of highlight again what the changes are that we made. Opening it up to include the County Invest Well program. As you know, the county cannot give out grants, it has to come through us. So that was a big piece and why we did open this up. We removed the facade and signage loan program. We never did have anyone apply for the loan component. And our CFDC in both Saugeen and the Waterloo Wellington offer loan programs that complement the CIP. So we did not need to play in that area. We do still have our grant program. And then we added incentives for outdoor patios and public art, and also it expanded the boundary to include the whole municipality, not just the urban centers. So this is just another step in the process, presenting it to you tonight. Hopefully you've read it. We will have a public meeting on June 4th. We'll have the appeal period, and then hopefully you will approve it on July 2nd, and then we can get back to giving out our money. as was approved in the budget, we have $60,000, and we have quite a pile of applications building up here of people waiting to get going. We have a lot of new businesses set to open coming up here, and everyone's interested in these funds. So we'll hopefully keep the process going forward quickly. And that's all. there is really to say.
Questions? Anybody have questions? Who didn't read the report? I read most of it, Belinda. I did read it last year, and it's a great way to go. Community improvement is important to all of us. And
It's really exciting
Yeah.
to see, like if you're in downtown Palmerston lately, to see the improvements that are happening there, all as a
Yeah.
result of this program. It's really cool.
So
Continues.
thank you for all your hard work on this.
Thank you.
So I need a mover and a seconder for this motion. Councillor Gunson, Councillor Anderson, that the Council of the Town of Minto accepts the Minto CIP 10 to 20 Community Improvement Plan as information. All in favor of that? Against? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, so now we're moving right ahead into the sale of surplus land on Highway 9 and our CIO.
Not a clerk assistant.
Sorry?
Not the clerk assistant.
Yeah.
Quinn was not feeling well, and we have a really bad cold going through the front office, so we told her to stay at home and not pass it on to you guys. Poor Annalene's suffering through it, but she had to come and take it. So, so we're trying to get rid of that cold out of the front of the office. But anyway, this is just a routine follow-up report to what we did when we declared this land surplus. This is just squaring off the Highway 9, as you know, where the construction is going to be taking place, and this is finalizing that to give the acting clerk and mayor permission to sign the agreement of purchase and sale with the MTO and finish that off and let them square that off so they can carry on with their construction this summer.
Any questions? I know we've talked about this before, so I need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Elliott, Councillor Dirksen, that the Council of the Town of Minto receives the clerk's assistant's reported date April 11th, 2019 regarding the sale of the surplus lands on Highway 9 and consider passing a bylaw in open session authorizing the mayor and the acting clerk to sign the agreement of purchase and sale. All in favor of that? Against? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, so we have our bylaw enforcement officer and talk about dog kennels. The dog kennel bylaw with Mr. Cam Forbes.
So back in February, we were directed by council to update dog bylaw and with an emphasis, I think, on kennel fees. So we just kind of made the wording a little easier to understand. One thing was we really didn't have any way to enforce if a dog was deemed dangerous and potentially dangerous and he didn't comply with the restrictions on the dog, there wasn't much enforcement there. So we want to put in some fines for that, muzzling, signage, and whatnot. Just a couple wording changes. A kennel is a kennel as far as what we charge, so it doesn't just to streamline the bylaw a bit, take all the wording out. It's still a kennel. It's still in there that whether it's boarding or breeding. So that's pretty much all of it. So we have the fees for the kennels would be $4 to $15. If you guys are good with this, $4 to $15 would be $150, which is what we charge now for kennel fees. 16 to 25, $250, 26 to 50 would be $500, and over 51 dogs would be $1,000. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. We had a bit of a problem, I guess, with it was my fault or East Greg's fault or somebody's fault. Anyway, there was a sentence missed on section F1. Section F, sentence 1. At the bottom of that sentence, it should read to say those conditions, and that's to deal with the kennels that were in existence before the bylaw came in force in 2004. So it gave exemptions to lot size or not lot size, distance between buildings and number of dogs. So it should read at the bottom of that sentence, those conditions shall remain in full force in effect unless the number of dogs has been reduced by the kennel owner operator for a period of 2 consecutive years, then the number of dogs will be reduced to the maximum of 25 dogs.
Any questions, Councillor McKenzie?
Through, so the number of dogs hasn't changed? There's no maximum? It just says over 51 dogs.
The maximum is 25 dogs, but the kennels that were in existence before 2004, some of them have more than 25 dogs, and they've been grandfathered to keep that number.
So no.
So
somebody applying wouldn't, maybe it would
No,
still have to come through council, and
Yeah,
may not be that allowed.
25 is the maximum
Yeah, thank
for
you.
any new kennel.
Yeah.
Other questions, Councillor Dirksen?
So, but what you just read to us, that would, if there's a kennel, even if it was grandfathered and it hasn't had those numbers for 2 years, then it would not be allowed to come back with those numbers. Is that what you just read?
It would be bumped back to 25, the maximum is 25.
Okay. So that's new.
Yeah.
Other questions? Councillor Elliott?
How many dogs before is a kennel? Is like you can 3 dogs? Is that
You're
what?
allowed 3 dogs. You can license 3 dogs per home, per property. Anything over that is a kennel.
Now, is there a certain size if they're let to run loose? Do they have to, is there, like if you have 2 or 3 dogs in your backyard, do they have to be fenced, or is there like?
If your dog leaves your property, that's essentially running a bird.
Okay.
It can be off the property on leash, but somebody holding that leash, somebody responsible for that leash.
Is there a distance of confinement, like too small an area or out in the sun all day?
That's been in the bylaw forever. I think it's twice the length of the dog. It has to be able to turn around.
Okay.
Councillor Dirksen?
So back a while ago, we had a application on Highway 89 for somebody wanting a dog bag, a kennel, right? And that application was withdrawn. But during that public meeting, a neighbor made a comment about the refuse from the dog waste, that it had to be treated in some way. Was that in our bylaw, or was that?
No, it has to be disposed of in a sanitary manner. I can't find anything that says
Okay.
That was brought up in the Ministry of Environment. It's governed under the Ministry of Environment. I'd love to have somebody explain that to me, because I can't find it in there. It speaks in that act. It speaks to human waste, not.
Okay. Okay. It's good to know.
Other questions? So we have a motion. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Elliott, Councillor Anderson. I'm going to read the whole motion. The Council of the Town of Minto receives the Bylaw Enforcement Officer's March 19th, 2019 report regarding the dog kennel bylaw, and considers the updated bylaw in open session, and further that the bylaw in open session includes the following sentence at the end of section F1. Those conditions shall remain in full force and effect unless the number of dogs have been reduced by the kennel operator owner for a period of 2 consecutive years. Then the number of dogs will be reduced to a maximum of 25 dogs. Any other questions? All in favor of this motion? Against? That's carried. Thank you very much, Ken. I'll pass the chair over to, one thing before I pass the chair, my friend Annaline asked me to ask everybody to turn their phones off. From what I understand, there's always humming and buzzing, and we've had some of our folks that are watching our movies, our videos, are complaining about the humming. So please shut your phone down.
I think that's
Thank
me,
you.
That's me singing
Could be, Ron. So I'll pass the chair to Councillor Anderson for the fire.
Thank you, Deputy
Issues.
Mayor Mr. Turton, and acting CAO or whatever it is, fire chief.
I think I'm up here for 3 different things tonight.
Okay,
different
we'll have
titles
you.
each
We'll
time,
have you
so
give your report.
Thank you. So this one is a fire report. I had spoken to you before about dispatch and some of the changes that we're looking at making, and many in the county are starting to make this change and look towards it. We're just switching our Guelph dispatch agreement, which Guelph does our dispatching now and does it on a basic level. So that means they page us. We go to the fire hall, we acknowledge with Guelph that we've received the call and that we're responding, and then our interaction with Guelph subsides there. And then we have somebody that, if available, comes in and sits in our dispatch room, records the times, any information, the trucks, radio right back to the station, talks to the person in the station, and then once they're done and they all get back to the hall, then we radio Guelph to say we're now clear of that call. That's basic dispatching. What we're proposing with this new agreement is to move to full dispatching, where we don't necessarily have to have somebody in our stations. The trucks from the scene, heading out to the scene everywhere, would respond right to Guelph Dispatch and talk to professional dispatchers down in Guelph to ask for more trucks, to ask for more stations to respond, to ask for more resources, natural gas, Unigas, Westerio, Hydro One, that type of thing would be done right to there. This, to me, is an enhanced service for us. Some of the problems we're running into at some of the stations, at times all the stations, is we just don't always have enough personnel that we can leave somebody back at the station to monitor the radio. And as you can imagine, having somebody answer you on the radio is a very important thing to us, because we want to be able to ask for resources and have somebody be able to answer us and, get that done for us. The other added benefit is all of our times will be digitally stamped and kept on a proper record. Nothing against our radio dispatchers we have now, but sometimes information is not kept the way it should be kept. When the trucks are on scene, when we're actually applying water, when the fire's been out, different benchmarks that we have, they're not always getting captured. So we guesstimate at times for that. So this would be done digitally, and all of our calls would be recorded on their brand new recording system they have down in Guelph Dispatch, so that if we have to pull the tape, the entire call would be recorded at Guelph as part of the service too. So all of those things are enhanced, but to me are very important to move the fire department, keep moving it forward, and to keep up with the recording and how we record the call and how we document what's going on. I think that's very important. The last benefit to it is the ability to enhance our policies with Guelph. An example of that we're just talking about actually all this week when we're doing our station officer meetings is we're going to put a policy in place for the summertime due to the Highway 9 construction. And at times we have not as many firefighters available in the daytime in Clifford, just because a lot of our firefighters now don't work in Clifford because they're working out of town, is for MBCs or car accidents, structure fires, possible structure fires, calls like that. We're going to send 2 stations, the Harrison and Clifford station, both to those calls during the hours of 8 in the morning till 5 at night, just to up staff, because it's going to take them longer to get up to Clifford, and because we're only averaging 3 or 4 firefighters a day in Clifford right now. So we would just want to make sure that we have the resources coming and that they're going through Drew and getting on the road quicker. So that's something else that Guelph will be able to put into their dispatch system, which is all upgraded and new, that automatically comes on their screen and they're automatically paged at the exact same time. So that kind of stuff, that by moving to full dispatch, they're going to really be able to work with us, and we'll be able to put policies similar to that in the future. We're going to keep upgrading those and looking at our response times and making sure that they stay appropriate. So all of that is the reasoning why we want to sign this agreement to move to full dispatch services.
Thank you, Chair. So how long do they keep the recordings?
They would keep them as per our municipal policy. So if we say our policy is 7 years or 3 years, whatever our policy states is how long they keep it. All of our data, from the calls to the recordings, all that will be kept in more or less a Minto folder, for lack of better terms, and then it's kept for as long as we tell them to keep it, as per our municipal policy. So.
this may be a question you can't answer. I just heard on the news before I came here that their ambulance dispatches and protocols move from 34. They hope they move it to 10. Is that going to affect, like I'm sure with Guelph, you'll be dispatching ambulance if you got an accident call, it's automatic. So how's that work through Guelph, or is that going to make a big difference? Or
It won't make a big difference right away. Now there's conflicting. I read that too. There's conflicting stories out there that they're in the budget was they want to amalgamate ambulance services. So like Guelph Wellington paramedic services, they want to amalgamate them with a bigger one. So they want to make like 10 paramedic services across the province, which that might have a big effect on us because we might get ambulances moved around on us that we would have no control over. So that's one option. Right now, our dispatch center for ambulance was in Cambridge, but they said they couldn't get enough staff, so they moved the dispatch to Hamilton. So Hamilton actually does all of the Hamilton area and down further around surrounding Hamilton, as well as Kitchener, Waterloo Region, Guelph, Wellington County, and Dufferin County is all dispatched out of Hamilton right now. So that's already started. One of the things I'm concerned about with that is they have what's called the automatic dispatch system. It's called the TIF program, simultaneous dispatch. And it was one of the committees I was on when I was on the provincial board. And what it is, as soon as the ambulance call pops up on the ambulance screen and the computer recognizes that it's a tierable call for fire, also send fire, the computer automatically sends it to fire dispatch, which is Guelph in our case, and we get dispatched the exact same time as the ambulance. They're talking about if they upgrade and move these ambulances, we might lose that service. So to lose that service, the ambulance dispatcher has to physically pick up the phone, call Guelph dispatch and say, we need to send Minto Fire to this call. And they say, okay, thanks, hang up, and that's done. If we go back to that, that does slow things down a lot, obviously, than a computer system. So that's yet to be determined, but it could have some ramifications for us. We'll have to wait and see.
So you may have to have more paramedic training with your men?
That probably won't happen for us because right now we're doing a 40-hour first aid course for them in the fall to recert them all, and I can't ask them to do much more than that. The next step up will be a 120-hour emergency response technician, ERT, I think it's what's called now, but it's an upgrade that, and I just can't ask our firefighters to keep doing more and more training on it. So I would not bring that proposal forward to do that.
We just gotta hope we have a better service or as good a service.
As good a service as we do now, yeah, for sure.
I have a couple of questions. So if you don't always know that you have somebody to act as dispatch at the fire hall, so suppose you get someone you realize you need more backup, so then, but you've already terminated your interaction with Guelph, what do you do then? Currently?
Guelph has been a great partner that if we do get stuck, they pick up the service for us now and just don't charge us for it. But so that I commend them on that. Like if we have no one during the daytime, a lot of the times if I'm sitting in the office, and say it's a Clifford call, I'll man the radio in Palmerston because I can hear them and I'll just answer them and do that for them. But we've had numerous times that nobody's there, so they will just talk right to Guelph, and Guelph will never leave us high and dry, and they've always said that they would not let us do that. But it's just more reason why I think we need to move to this full dispatching. Center Wellington, Rockwood, or Guelph Hermosa, and Puslinch have all moved to this system and have had no issues and actually are good with it. And I believe Mapleton and Erin are both looking at going that way too.
Well, and I would think if you're coordinating, if you have a big event, it's a lot better to have one central dispatch that knows where everybody is in the region and can figure out who can get to you quickest if they're not already tied up somewhere else. Whereas if you were dealing with somebody in our fire hall, they wouldn't have any way of knowing any of that.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's one of the next steps that we want to take once we all get on with full dispatch is have pre-made policies that I can just call dispatch and say we need a third alarm, and they would just know, okay, we're going to send this one and this one to back them up. It's right now we just try and pick which ones we send next when you're at the scene, and sometimes it's a little chaotic to try and remember where you are and who's closer. And so
yeah, I would think so.
Our next step is to create the policies that's already done, that we just request a third alarm, fourth alarm, whatever, like similar to what they do in the big cities, and Guelph Dispatch would know this is who we send next.
Any other questions? Shall I read the motion before I ask for a mover, or shall I ask for a mover before I read the motion? Which way am I supposed to do that?
Do the motion. And
Okay,
then
so the recommendation is that the council of the town of Minto receives the acting CAO fire chief's Guelph Fire Dispatch Agreement report, and that a bylaw be considered in open session to sign the agreement with the corporation of the city of Guelph to provide full fire dispatch services to the Minto Fire Department. Now could I have a mover? Certainly, thank you, Deputy Mayor Turton and Councillor Gunson. All in favor? Perfect, that's passed.
Thank you very much,
And I'll pass the chair back to the Deputy Mayor.
Chairman Anderson. We're going to move right along here into the, our treasurer's going to give us a report here on the changes to the vacant and excess land clauses.
Great, thank you, Deputy Mayor. This is an issue that's kind of been percolating at the county level for a while. So at present, if you have a property that is assessed as either commercial or industrial, and you have what MPAC classes as vacant land, so maybe you've got a 3-acre factory property or something, you're using 2 of them, and the back acre, you're not really using it for anything. Currently, if it's industrial, you get a 35% reduction in the assessment, and if it's commercial, you get a 30%. It's not a huge issue in the town of Minto, but it is in certain other areas, especially where you're getting into these larger operations and that too. So in 2016 and 2017, when we were working on the changes to our vacant unit, we had these discussions with our chamber reps and our economic, and to be honest, no one felt strongly about that issue at all. It's come back again, so the county is proposing to remove these discounts, I guess we would call them, and that would be effective for the 2019 taxation year. So it's very similar to the process that we had to go through for vacant units, where the municipality had to request the Ministry of Finance to make the change, gets approved. If you meet the deadline, it's in effect. So I kind of looked at, as far as local taxes, we only have about 38 properties, and it would be about $7,200 more to those assessment classes, and about $8,300 more in county taxes. Now, for both the county and us and education, the total tax collected will not change. It's just how it's allocated, and it saves, again, our average residential property. It makes about a $2 discount. So it's not a huge change, but the county would really appreciate the support of the lower tier municipalities in making this change. And I don't care if we have a county councilor here. I think that's correct anyway. So I'm recommending that we support this change, and I could answer any questions.
Questions?
I guess
Councillor Dirksen, sorry.
thank you. I guess it would just, I think it would be less paperwork for you too, like less.
Yes, it would be.
So that would be an advantage for us for sure.
Is good too. Yeah, it's more fair, and it's kind of ironic because the same people that will pay more tax, well, their commercial and industrial taxes will go down a bit, not enough to offset, but yeah, so not that much opposition to it.
Other questions? Okay, so that the motion is that the Council of the Town of Minto accepts the Treasurer's report of April 8th, 2019, and supports the County of Wellington proposal to eliminate the discounts related to vacant and excess land assessments. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor McKenzie, Councillor Gunson, all in favor of this motion? Against? That's carried. Thank you very much. I'd like to ask our acting CAO to enlighten us on investing in Canada infrastructure program.
Okay, so this is one of the whirlwind grants programs that Gordon and I have been discussing quite heavily over the past 3 weeks. And this is the first report on this grant program that we need to talk about tonight. This one is key because to make a decision tonight, because the deadline to apply, like a lot of stuff that they do, is May 14th. So there's a lot of homework that has to be done by our engineers, Gord, Mike, myself, to be able to get this one passed and get the application in so that we can hopefully see some funds in the fall. I'm not going to go over the background. You can see the background there, which is cut and pasted from the government, the letter that they gave us about the description of this program. When we get through the fine print of it, the problems that we have with it is it's another grant program that has a lot of restrictions on what you can apply for. So it's a grant program that doesn't really allow us to apply for a project or projects that we think is our number 1, 2, or 3 priority. It's a grant that you have to find a project to almost fit the grant program, which is something that's too bad that we couldn't have a more flexible grant program to be able to find our greatest needs and help it. This grant program, as you can see, does not apply to water, wastewater, or stormwater parts of it. So to do a road in any of the municipalities, we would get the road surface, and that's about it, is all we would get covered under this grant. So the underground, the water, the wastewater, and then the curbing, the stormwater, all that stuff will be all in our ticket. So it's really not a big bang for our buck when we're just getting more or less asphalt paid for and some groundwork. Another project we talked about was one of the rural roads, the 12th line, and talking to our engineers and reading the fine print of the grant is you have to have health and safety statistics, so like accident statistics on a road, to demonstrate that road is a danger and needs to be rehabilitated or fixed. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I like to say, for the 12th line, we do not have a lot of accident statistics. We know that the road's deteriorating, could use a lot of work, but from the experts we talked to, this project would probably not be accepted if we applied for it. We could still apply for it and take our chances, but what we're getting indications is it would not fit this grant program. So the project, as we looked at them all, and we talked to the engineers and staff, and we mulled it over, is the one that best fits this program is the Brunswick Street Bridge in Palmerston. Now, it's not a major priority. Like there is other ones that are higher priority than this one. It is still high priority in the town. It is a bridge that is closed in our urban area, and there's no getting around that. But to pick a project, it is the best project we could pick out of the vast list that we have that would fit into a grant program. You can see there that this grant program, we don't want to lose out on it because it's an 83% grant. We'd only have to contribute 17%. So we don't want to lose out on it because of the good funding. From our experts, we would be able to put this application in and demonstrate that this is a need in the town for sure, because it is a road just off of the hospital road. So if White's Road was ever closed or something happened with White's Road, this is an alternative route to get around the block to the hospital. It does affect how people can travel and would affect emergency services having to go around the block to get to certain places in the town too. So it also fits the fact that this is mainly a bridge and road project, which is exactly what the criteria says. There's no water or wastewater real needs with the bridge project. We don't have to run piping underneath in the water or anything like that. It's just replacing the bridge and a lot of the road infrastructure around it. So the staff recommendation is that council gives us permission to apply for the Brunswick Street Bridge project under the ICIP program. And hopefully we're successful when we find out word heard like in the fall. So we'll find out late summer, fall, we're guessing fall, and this won't be a project that will actually go till 2020. And I believe you have until 2026 to spend the money, so there is no real rush. Other than we have to have the application in by May 14th. So you rush up front, and then you hurry up and wait afterwards to get the money and spend it afterwards. So that's staff's recommendation.
Questions for that project? Chris? Go ahead, Councillor Anderson.
So, and I don't remember exactly, during our budget discussions, they talk about they'd really like to look at things that were joint projects between municipalities. Was there not a Howick or a Norm or some, I'm not a road person, David would know the names of the roads, I don't know any of them. But we talked about a joint project.
The Minto Normanby Town Line.
Right, that's it.
We talked to West Gray, and they were going to go in a different direction with it too.
Okay.
And we also believe that if that's another one that won't fit the health and safety requirements that they put in this
I
grant
just
program.
thought if
So
they're looking for joint projects, when they get that joint thing in their head, they really like to see that
Yeah.
collaboration between. So I didn't know if that would be more successful than.
we did talk to them, but they have
And I wasn't
other
sure about
needs.
the numbers either,
So
whether they fit in the criteria, how much it was going to cost. But
the Brunswick Street Bridge or the Minto Normandy?
the Minto Normandy.
Oh yeah, it would have fit, we believe, in the numbers wise, but just they weren't.
All right.
We,
It was just that's as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, joint. Didn't we have a joint road we wanted to work on? But
Yep, and we
Okay.
did speak with them, but
okay.
Other questions? So May, you said May 14th?
May 14th.
So we get this in by May 14th. Any indication on when they'll be letting us know and when the money will flow?
Maybe fall. Maybe the fall that we will hear if we're successful or not.
So we don't, like, that 17% will likely come out of reserves. It might not be till next year.
Yeah. If you
Treasurer Dunn?
remember when we passed our capital budget, I had this $1 million project in there, funded from reserves, or 17. So I'll still have that. But as Chris said, it's highly unlikely this project will actually be physically completed in 2019. Like unless fall is like September 1st and we get a tender out and they're ready to go. But far more likely we'll complete the design work, and we'd already have some preliminary on that, and it'll probably be a 2020 project. So our capital spending will be much lower this year. It's a
Other
good thing.
Questions? Okay, so the recommendation, anything else? Acting CAO,
No, that's the report.
recommendation that the Council of the Town of Minto select the Brunswick Street Bridge in Palmerston project be applied for in the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Anderson, Councillor Elliott, all in favor of this motion? Against? That's carried. Thank you very much. So we're into other business. Councillor Dirksen.
Okay, just wanted to remind council and anyone who might be listening that Safe Communities of Minto and Mapleton are sponsoring the ATV Safety Information Night on Thursday evening, April 18th. That is at the Palmerston Fire Hall at 7:30 p.m. Not sure if everyone is aware, but currently there are no ATVs allowed by law on any roads in Wellington County. There is a bit of a movement afoot to maybe look at that. And I guess the other reason for going to that is refreshments will be served. The volunteer dinner, as we all know, it was very well received. Tons of good comments. I would suggest it was fun for us as a council as well. It's fun to do something besides sit around this table and work together on something different. So just wanted to thank staff. Annaline and Quinn did a lot of the organizing, but Chris and Greg Mallet and other rec staff, there were other people that were helping us out as well. So that was good. There was one negative. Well, I don't know if it was negative or not. It was thought provoking. Let's put it that way. It was brought to my attention that we maybe weren't recycling as much as we could have been at the dinner, and I would suspect that that's the case at most events, at maybe most of our facilities. So I know recycling is a county thing, but I just wondered, is it possible maybe to, I don't know, put up some signage or some pictures, or, like these things can be recycled and please don't recycle these, or something in our facilities, because I think it's important that we show that responsibility. And so I don't know, maybe that's not the answer exactly, but just something to think about anyways. So I'm not sure how we'd proceed on that, but.
So is that something that you just want our acting CAO to take back to PRAC, or is that something that our friend Councillor Elliott can do, or?
Yeah, it's kind of a facilities thing, so that makes sense. Sure. Yeah, if you would. The containers were styrofoam.
Pardon?
I thought we didn't have any. True enough. Or weren't supposed to have styrofoam. Came from somewhere. Yeah, I don't know, but the stuff got brought back was in styrofoam.
Well, what was
Councillor McKenzie?
like on our survey now? What needed to be recycled?
It was specifically referring to the tinfoil that we had the baked potatoes in.
Put it in a blue box.
So I think we put all those pie plates. I think they hit the blue box. You know, like I mean, I recycle flat, clean tinfoil, but usually by the time I'm done with it, it's not flat or clean. So, and I would suggest that most of this wasn't either. But, you know, perhaps we could have said try to keep your tinfoil clean. I don't know. But anyways, it was just to me, like I said, it was just thought provoking to me that you know we need to set that example and maybe we could. You know, somehow put up some signage or have some signage put up or something. But anyways, we'll let somebody deal with that.
I know at all our ball diamonds and all our facilities, we have blue boxes all over the place for people to use. I guess maybe we didn't set the example. To me, I just throw the tin foil in the blue box anyway. So I don't clean and flat. I don't know whether I've read that anywhere or whether it's
Well,
just
I don't know. And I did look it up, and the picture from Wellington County's website about I mean, it shows crumpled up tinfoil. So I guess it's maybe okay to put it in there, but.
So that was just probably not thinking about what we were doing with it. You know, just grab it quick, throw it in the garbage, walk away.
Yep.
So yeah, just be a little more
just something
aware.
to think about. Yep.
Okay.
For sure. But anyways, it was a great night, and like I said, I had a lot of fun working with everybody. So I hope all of you did too.
I had a ball.
Could have found better guys to barbecue with.
Councillor McKenzie?
This is just an FYI. I sent a reply from the Attorney General to Chris and Annaline on the dog bite disclosure issue. It's under review by the government, so they're at least looking at it now. It's got that far. It's new to you people. I did send it last week to you guys, and
yeah, the previous correspondence was on the correspondence that you passed in the last council meeting. The letter that you got back was on the correspondence. So, so not this one. The one so this letter hasn't been put on that correspondence yet.
Okay.
But yeah, the mayor was also speaking as his public health chair on that too, and I believe he can tell you when he comes back. But I believe he has some traction on public health, just giving us the email updates when a dog bite does happen too at our local public health. So you might want to talk to him and get that clarified too. But I believe that's some traction that he's gotten at public health.
There's more to come, but they're addressing it. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else? I have a couple. April 27th is the Firemen's Gala, and the same night is the Kinsman Club of Hairston are turning 60. So I'd like to offer them congratulations, and I'll be attending and taking a citation from the town, and I think our mayor is going to the Firemen's Gala. So other than that, I'd like to have a motion to return to, we have a motion to return to the committee. Let me start again. Moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor McKenzie, that the committee of the whole convene into regular council meeting. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, so any notices of motion? Hearing none. We'll move right along into, got a resolution here, moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Dirksen. Council Town of Minto ratifies the motion made in the committee of the whole. All in favor? Against? It's carried. Thank you. So the first bylaw, moved by Councillor Gunson, seconded by Councillor Anderson, that bylaw 2019-38 to rezone a portion of 5637 7th line Hairston from agriculture to agricultural exception be introduced and read a first, second, and third time and passed in open council and sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor? Against? That's carried. Thank you. This is moved by Councillor McKenzie, seconded by Councillor Elliott. Bylaw 2019-39 to regulate and license the keeping of dogs and dog kennels in town of Minto be introduced, read a first, second, and third time, and passed in open council. Seal with the seal of the corporation. All in favor? Against? That's carried. Thank you. Moving right along, moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Gunson, that bylaw 2019-40 to execute a fire dispatch service agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Minto and the Corporation of the Town of the City of Guelph be introduced and read first, second, and third time, and passed in open council and sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor? Against? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the bylaw 2019-42 to confirm actions of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Minto respecting a meeting held. Sorry? Okay, we'll do this one first. Moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor McKenzie, the bylaw 2019-41 to authorize the mayor and the acting clerk to execute an agreement of purchase and sale between the town of Minto and the province of Ontario, be introduced and read a first, second, third time, and passed in open council and sealed to seal the corporation. All in favor? Against? It's carried. Yep. Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that bylaw 2019-42 confirm action of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Minto respecting a meeting held April 16th, 2019, be introduced, read a first, second, third time, and passed in open council and sealed to seal the corporation. All in favor? Against? That's carried. This last but not least, moved by Councillor Gunson, seconded by Councillor Anderson, that the Council of the Town of Minto adjourn to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor? Against? That's carried. Thank you very much.